Welcome back to Nightchild Reviews, and here we take a look at the second disc on the new Deluxe Edition 1999 package. This disc is all about the promo mixes and B-sides, and poses a number of questions which we will take a brief look at. Just to remind you, here is what's on disc 2. We have 1999, the 7-inch stereo edit, 1999, the 7-inch mono promo only edit, Free, the promo only edit, How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore, Little Red Corvette, the 7-inch edit, All the Critics Love You in New York, also a 7-inch edit, the 7-inch edit of Lady Cab Driver, the Little Red Corvette Dance Remix Promo Only edit, quite a mouthful, one of my favourites, the Little Red Corvette Special Dance Mix, the Delirious 7-inch edit, the Horny Toad, just 2 minutes 15, Automatic, the 7-inch edit and the video version, Let's Pretend We're Married, the 7-inch edit and a 7-inch mono promo only edit, followed by Irresistible Bitch, Let's Pretend We're Married, the video version, and DMSR, the edited version at 5 minutes and 6. Obviously, a number of these tracks were discussed in their original form in the first review, so we will consider a number of further points and also take a look at a few of the other tracks that make their appearance on this disc. The inclusion of a number of these promo mixes in particular has largely divided the Prince community into two differing viewpoints. The first viewpoint is that they are very welcome. A number of collectors and completists very much appreciate having every released version of these classic tracks, and you could certainly argue that you can't ever have enough Prince material. The second viewpoint is that there is little demand for a number of these tracks, which are largely simply shortened versions, and that the package may well have been better perhaps including another live performance, or even a few other unreleased tracks from the era, or even a set from The Time or Vanity 6. I would very much love to hear your thoughts about the inclusion of these tracks, and whether you welcome them or not. I would probably argue for both sides in different ways, but I am glad that this disc makes an appearance, largely for 4 very good reasons. And those are, in my opinion, firstly, I adore How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore, and any excuse to enjoy that stellar track I seize upon. Secondly, one of my favourite remix versions of a track is the special dance remix of Little Red Corvette. Thirdly, the inclusion of Horny Toad, which is pure rockabilly classic Prince. And fourthly, the track Irresistible Bitch, although, as we shall see tomorrow, it now has competition for being the standout version of that track. The first two treatments of 1999 are interesting in that after hearing the first track, the stereo edit 7-inch, you ask yourself why the second mono edit was included, as the difference in sound is palpable. But there are some strange benefits to this. The mono version is much duller, muddier and obviously restricted in range, which narrows the track, but it does have the strange benefit of taking me back to the days of hearing Prince's 1999 on television and through taped versions from friends, and so has an almost familiar feel compared to the much more dynamic and brightened stereo version. It, of course, does show the work and difference that the stereo version has to offer, and just how much difference it actually makes to this track. This is very much the edited, almost half-length track that would have been the staple of radio stations up and down almost every country, and it is strange after hearing this when you enjoy the full-length version with its iconic "Mummy, why does everybody have a bomb?" refrain. Prince was creating the extended funk workouts at this time, and the radio was still struggling to come to terms with that. Free, which I discussed in a previous review, is perhaps a little more of a mystery other than for completists. The walking in snow, crunching footsteps are omitted from the intro, but this edit is 4 minutes 36 in length, and the original track just 5 minutes 07, so the editing is minimal. Perhaps the powers that be should have just let Free be, well, free. I've always adored this track for a host of reasons, and today I discovered one more. It was recorded on my 7th birthday, and obviously it's very important that you all know that. It is a truly haunting, space-filled, atmospherically elegant recording, which at the same time both sounds so simple and is actually pretty complex. Prince's voice here is simply booming in strength, the finger snaps and piano work are incredibly intimate, the backing chorus of his own voice simply perfection. The way Prince holds the note as he still lights a fire on a lonely night, but still likes it better when you're holding him tight. 2 minutes 11 is one of my favourite Prince pleads as he begs, tell me baby, why you want to go break my heart." The track has an added element of excitement unknowingly, as this is not the final appearance in the deluxe package, and this will, from now on, have another version to challenge its brilliance. Perfect for a long rainy night when you await the call from the one you love and it never comes. Simply sublime. Prince chose to include this as the B-side to 1999, and it's easy to see why. The next 3 tracks are again the shortened version of the album versions, which some people have said they love for playing at parties and when they want a quick mix of Prince tracks. Little Red Corvette, which we looked at earlier, still retained its power and immediacy, and you were just singing along in seconds. It just strides out the gate like a powerhouse. Just ask Sandra Bernhardt. All the Critics Love You in New York loses a good 2 minutes 30, but it is Lady Cab Driver which is cut by a chunky 3 minutes 11. It does, however, retain Prince's thrusting sexual pleading and actually still manages to retain the core elements of the track despite such a large cut. The dance remix promo of Little Red Corvette is pretty cool, and I always appreciate the part where the track breaks down and Prince exclaims, "The ride is so smooth, you must be a limousine." However, the real standout for me is the special dance remix, which brings new dimensions to the track, including the memorable line towards the end where Prince delivers the couplet, "There are some things that you do to me that leave me in a velvet sweat, and darling, there are some things that I want to do to you, so you'll never forget." Prince declares the last word in full shouting defiance, and the energy is palpable. The edit of Delirious is a little perplexing for me in that the original full-length track is only 4 minutes dead, and yet this was cut to a mere 2 minutes 39. It is still fun and the elements there, but the cutting seemed a little superfluous. The B-side of Delirious was a track that only Prince could have come up with. In other songs, Prince has sung about cats and dogs as metaphors, but here he's just a horny toad. This is a real punky, Dirty Mind era sensibility in which the pounding guitar and thrashing hi-hats are pulsingly frenetic. The lyrics actually are a lot darker than the fun rockabilly style would suggest, with lines such as, "I don't want your money because I've got all I need, all I want to do is rub your body until you start to bleed." And he also goes on to say, "If you think I'm nasty, you ain't seen nothing yet. You see, I'm the kind of brother, the more you scream, the nastier I get." This all ramps up until Prince, with extra helpings of bravado and swagger, simply decrees to a background of climactic instrumentation, "Run, go tell your boyfriend his lovin' has got too old. He might as well pack his things and get his dead ass on the road. Tell him you live on a lily pad with a horny toad." It almost needs to be illegal to cut Automatic down to 3 minutes 40 from its nearly 9.5 minute original workout. One could, however, argue that the 8 minute 21 video version gives you a great excuse, as if one was required, to re-watch the Automatic video, in which Prince is helplessly tied to a bed by Jill Jones and Lisa Coleman for what has to be one of Prince's sexiest and most erotically fueled video outings. So please, check that out. Probably best not in public, or if potentially offended by Prince's threesome shenanigans. Did I just say shenanigans? Once more, with the 2 comparable versions of Let's Pretend We're Married, which both pretty much lose half the original track, it is interesting to see just how much the vocals are narrowed by the mono edit, and how many little subtleties and depth of sound you lose. You get to keep the splintering scream towards the end of the track, but lose much of the sexual nastiness that follows. The first time I saw this track was on the Purple Rain Syracuse VHS, and I was intrigued by this song that I hadn't been aware of. It sounded so gritty, nasty, dirty and tight. An almost rubber band tautness stretched over a seeming woodblock springiness, with some utterly beautiful, delicate bursts of backing vocals from Wendy and Lisa, and the chiming clock bong. Prince has been done wrong again. Stole all my honey, played it off like it was a joke. You stealing all my honey, baby, keep you by my side, bleed me till I'm broke. Hell if I know why I let you drive my car. Don't I know that walking won't get me very far? Sure, I know that crying over you is just in vain, but all the things I lose don't add up to all the things I gain. It's remarkable how Prince does this track, and it's a real credit to the creativity he had at that moment. The strange thing is that this track was actually softened hugely from the original version, which is included later on this package. There's a touch of the feel of this track, Scarlet Pussy, in the way that they both use tight funk stripped down to within an inch of its life and almost ready to snap. These 2 tracks round off the set. First, there is the audio of the video version of Let's Pretend We're Married, which, to go off tangent again a little, is certainly for a number of people a hugely overlooked video. Definitely one to check out, as Prince gyrates, pulls crazy faces, teases, cajoles, and demonstrates just why his live performances were so remarkable, even in this set-piece video. Prince's energy in this video, sliding down to throw a kiss at the camera, is simply addictive. DMSR completes the set, and I wonder how many people possibly only heard the edits at the time and then discovered these full-length tracks later on, which must have been pretty good fun. In conclusion, I see both sides of the argument for including these tracks. The B-sides are a welcome addition, and I love some of the remixes. It does give the set a sense of completeness, and one could argue that if these tracks weren't included, there is no guarantee others would take its place. Ultimately, they are great tracks and do bring a sense of nostalgia for the sound of how they were often first heard when listening to the mono edits. Tomorrow, we move on to arguably the most fascinating part of this collection as we look at the third disc, crammed full of vault tracks and alternate versions. See you then. Stay funky.